Hello and welcome to part 2 of linking Unity to an online database using SQL. So in the last video I basically created a little database where we could store all the scoreboard, we could add a new record and we could read all the records. But what I want to do in this one is just tidy it up a little bit and make it more usable. So what I've done is I've just taken the test2 code, I've created a new file called getScores, and this one we're now going to tidy up. So the first step is I'm going to delete all of the echoes. I only want to be outputting the data we need to see in Unity. So I know I'm going to need that debug information. Now you'll notice I've also taken away my login details to save me having to change things after each video. And what I'm now doing is I'm including this file. This file is where my actual data is stored. So it basically includes the same data and just overwrites it. So I can just put get login details from a separate file. So I'm also going to get rid of that line. We don't need that anymore. I'm still creating this connection. That's good. Connecting, again, that was all part of the debugging information. I'm going to change this now because at a later point, if I receive in Unity any string that starts with the word failed, I know not to continue. This is going to be my sort of layer of validation. So again, I'm going to get rid of that line. So I'm still keeping failure things. We are selecting all from game scores still, so that's fine. Coming down here, let's type this a little more. Execute the query. We're going to run this. Let's come down there. I'm going to put the word failed in that one as well. Okay, so that's going to give us, that should still work. If I just press save, let's just go and refresh this page and make sure it's still working. Yeah, we can see it's got rid of things now. Now I don't need all of this data in my scoreboard system, so I'm going to tidy this up a little bit. So I'm going to comment out this line of code. So we can see because this is all just one line, it's commented the whole lot in one go. And instead of that, I'm going to just copy my other line that I've already prepared. So there we go. So I'm going to echo out the row ID. I'm getting rid of a lot of the other information now. So I'm no longer starting with a break line, so this is going to be the first line. I want the ID number separated by a comma. Then, of course, the full stop, which, of course, appends our strings. Player name, append that to another comma, followed by the score, followed by a line break. So if I just save this now, press refresh. There we go. We're now all neat and tidy. There's no surplus data. There's nothing extra that we don't need. It's nice and concise. And I'm separating these by commas. So if you've used CSV files before, you probably know where this is going. So the next bit is, I want to do something a bit more. I don't just want select all from game scores. What I also want is, I want to put it in order. So if I say order by score, I don't think that capitals make sense, but I'll just do that anyway. So this is going to order it by score, so I'm going to get it in numerical order of rather than by name order. So press refresh. There we go. We can now see it's put them in the order of lowest score to highest. This is the reason why I like to do my names in alphabetical order. It helps me keep track if my sorting's working properly. So I'm just going to add an extra little bit now for desk for descending. So it's going to go from highest score to lowest score. So press refresh. There we go, we can see that's working. This is another nice way of doing it in PHP first on your server, is you know that the data is how you need it to be. Now I also know from doing this before, by doing this line break, it's actually putting an extra line below it, so we're going to need to fix that on our import code. So now I'm happy with that. I'm just going to delete this line of code, don't want it anymore. Again, I'm trying to keep this nice and concise. So yeah, that should do. Let's just save. Okay, so we're back over into Unity and I've got the same file as last time with the same two scripts. I've just turned those off for now. I've created a new script called Get High Scores. So again, this is all just for testing and prototyping purposes. So I'm going to jump over into that bit of code and we'll do the same thing again, which is include those libraries that we need. I'm going to again be a bit cheaty, copy and paste from the old version, from the old one. So, yep, I've got the same text box. I'm doing serialized field. This means it's still a private variable, but it does allow me to see it in the Unity inspector. I've got the scripts that we've just made, so it's the tutorial getScores.php. I've also created this buffer to hold the data that's coming in. So just like in the last lesson, I'm copying in our start coroutine. I'm going to grab that next bit, which is actually create this function that we need. Oops, and don't forget to fix the brackets I've just broken. So we're going to get this request. Okay, so we'll do the same bit which is we now action this actual thing, which means we now ask for that data from the website, which is coming from that URL. So it's just going to get the scores. I'm going to copy that into the buffer, and this way we can see exactly what it's receiving back over Unity. So let's just save this and go and test it to make sure everything is fine. So we can see over there it's got the URL. The reason why I say be careful with this, I mentioned in the last video, is if I now change this file here, it will still use this very first one that we typed in this window. So even if you change it in the code, it'll still go back to this file. So you've got to change it here if you need to make any updates. It's caught me out a few times in the past. So when I press play, let's have a quick look. So there we go. We can see it's pulling in the data in the right order, and we can see it's got the line break tag. So we need to be aware of that. That is a lowercase br, whereas yesterday, in the last lesson, I had a capital BR. So the first thing I want to do is now start to split this data. I want to start breaking it down. So I've got a string of scores, and I'm going to split wherever it finds the line break. So I'm going to now start looping through this data so we can output it onto our canvas. So I'm just going to first of all put the title in, so text.text high scores /n for new line. I'm now going to create a little for loop. Now I know this from personal experience that the length of the scores, it has an extra line at the end. So if I've got say 10 high scores, it's going to actually read 11 because of that final line break. So I'm just saying -1 to make sure it doesn't try and grab the last one. Again, there's no validation taking place here at the moment. That's something I plan to do at a later stage. So now I've got that, I can say string split. So this is splitting it record at a time, and this is now splitting each of those scores down into the actual individual components. So we can see I'm going score, I've got S just for score, 1 and 2. So 0 is the ID, 1 is the player name, and 2 is the score itself, followed by a new line. It's going to repeat through all of them. So let's just save that, jump back into Unity. So one thing I've not done is I've not dragged the text box across, so that would work now. So let's press play. And there we go, we can see we've now got the scores in reverse order. We didn't bother with the ID number. You can do that if you want to. So if you want to say who's in top spot, you could do that just by using the counter. In fact, let's do that now. So if I wanted to prefix the actual player's name, we could say text.text plus, I could just put the I. Yeah, I was expecting that to complain that it's an integer and not converted to a string, but we'll find out if that actually works. I am just going to put plus, just to put a little space in there before the actual name itself. So let's save that, back into Unity. And there we go, we can see they're in, well, that's what Ethan is in 0 place. So maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we could go back and just quickly go I plus 1. And now we can see Ethan's in 1st place and Dave's in 5th place. So the challenge for you now would be to actually go back into this bit of code and figure out how you could maybe only get the top 10 scores. So again, that would be doing a bit of research on SQL, how you could just get the top 10 records. Because you don't, what if you've got 1,000 players, you don't want to try and put all 1,000 people on there. Or do you? That would be your choice. Okay, I just spent a few minutes just tying the UI up a bit to see how it would look. So I grabbed some graphics from freepik.com, just edited those a little bit. Looks a little bit nicer, but again, you could spend a bit of time working with it. Okay, so if you've found this video useful, as always, please remember to like, subscribe, positive comment below. I'll be continuing more with SQL, but it'll be over on the quiz tutorials, because I'll be showing how to wrap up the incoming data into our object-oriented programming system. So if you're interested in taking it further, do check out the quiz Part 3 video, which should be coming in the next few days. Thanks for watching.